A single photo can contain both the proof of the crime and the lie that claims to erase it. In the same frame, the future murder and its alibi coexist without anyone realizing it. Brittany leans her phone against the wall, stretches out her arm, adjusts a brown leather belt around her waist. Next to her, Cheyenne half smiles. They only have a few hours left to live together. That evening, Cheyenne Rose Antoine, 21, a kitchen technician in a restaurant in Saskatoon, nervously fidgets with the keys of a car parked double. She stares at the screen, checks the selfie. In the photo, Brittany Gargol, 18, part-time waitress, hand on her hip, shows off the belt. Cheyenne presses post. She does not take her eyes off this strip of brown leather. The comments are already coming in. Friends from Saskatoon recognize the two young women who often go out together, drink together, show off together. The city sees them only as an inseparable duo, drifting from bar to bar. This early evening selfie seems to be just one more. It has a detail that no one notices yet. Cheyenne sets her phone down on the dashboard. The car smells of cheap perfume and spilled alcohol. Outside, it's an average city in central Canada, sprawling, cold, crossed by wide roads that lead out to the countryside. Saskatoon, in the middle of the prairies, with its industrial districts that vanish into darkness as soon as night falls. In a few hours, the western outskirts, near Highway 7, will be the last place where Brittany will breathe. Time stretches. They've planned a bar crawl. Alcohol flows easily in their circle, as do nights out. On Facebook, Brittany often poses with a drink in her hand. On Cheyenne's page, you see them pressed against each other, always in the noise of parties. On this evening of March 24th, 2015, there is nothing exceptional about the plan. That's exactly what will trap everyone. Cheyenne drives through the almost empty streets. She already feels the euphoria rising, mixed with a heavy fatigue. Later, people will talk about drugs, alcohol, nights that blur into each other. For now, there is only a car, two young women, a clearly visible belt, and a simple decision: go have a drink. Later that night, no one will report Brittany missing. Not right away. Not soon enough. In the morning, on a road on the western outskirts of Saskatoon, a driver slows down. On the shoulder, he makes out a shape. A young woman on the ground. Officers from the Saskatoon Police Service arrive. They confirm the death. Later, they will put a name to her: Brittany Gargol. Near the body, in the damp grass, a brown leather belt. The marks on the neck, the position of the body, the angle of the face turned toward the road, everything points to strangulation. No signs suggesting a traffic accident. Murder is the clear conclusion. The belt is seized. Evidence is collected, photographed, bagged. The scene is silent, broken only by the sound of distant cars. From there, the investigation works backward. Who was with Brittany the previous evening? Who saw her alive for the last time? Cheyenne's name comes up immediately. Close friend. Always together. Visible everywhere on social networks. She becomes the key person to question. Cheyenne is summoned. She tells a simple version. They drank, they laughed, they moved from bar to bar. Then, she claims, Brittany met a man, a stranger. Cheyenne says she left her with him. She then supposedly took the car to go home. She swears she knows nothing more. At this stage of the investigation, this story of going out, of bars, of an unknown man, fits with what everyone already knows about them. The officers listen, take notes, let Cheyenne spin this story in which she presents herself as a powerless witness. She insists that they split up, that she was no longer there. She vaguely describes this man. No name, no solid point of reference. The false alibi has just been born, but it still seems to hold together. Doubt settles in without being spoken. The first hypothesis suggests itself. A night out that goes wrong, a violent stranger, a vulnerable victim. Brittany has been drinking, she is young, in a city where the bars are full of faces you never see again. Those close to her, in shock, can almost believe it. A late-night encounter, someone who offers her a ride, a driver on Highway 7, and this dark, peripheral road where no one is watching. The idea of a passing attacker is almost reassuring. The evil would be outside the circle. The monster would be someone else. Then the investigators open Facebook, find the selfie from the day before, enlarge the image, compare the belt in the photo and the belt near the body, and the unknown man hypothesis collapses instantly. There remains another path, less simple, more technical. The police work on Cheyenne's account, cross-check it with the bar's opening hours, the testimonies of those who saw them. They look for this man she talks about. No one comes forward. No bartender remembers anyone leaving with an unknown man matching her vague description. At the same time, they comb through the physical traces, the clues on the belt, on the body, on the clothes. Cheyenne's version could be partially true. Argument, alcohol, another person involved, a scenario more complex than a single isolated act. You could imagine several people bearing responsibility, a group, an escalation. But the further the investigation goes, the more the known elements shift. The unknown man seems never to have existed. The bars of the cage move, and instead of adding actors, the case removes them one by one until it leaves only two people, Brittany and Cheyenne. There remains, then, a disturbing hypothesis. It no longer speaks of a hidden predator or an invisible network. It speaks of a long friendship, accumulated nights out, frustrations, alcohol, and a gesture no one expects. Cheyenne, the one who posts selfies, the one who comments, "Where are you, Brittany?" on Facebook after her friend's death, could be the one who pulled the belt tight. It would be a murder without spectacular strangeness, just raw violence, born too quickly, going too far. Then the hypothesis goes even further, to where even this violence seems almost too simple. If everything that seems spontaneous had been, at least in part, thought out in advance, from that belt deliberately shown off in the photo to the worried message posted afterward, then what we believe to be an explosion might instead be a chain of cold decisions, perfectly woven into the banality of a night of bar hopping. Cheyenne then runs into a wall that has nothing to do with material evidence. This blockage comes neither from the prosecutors, nor from technology, nor even from the gaps in the timeline. It comes from what would have to be admitted out loud, that the enemy, that night, does not step out of an alley or a parking lot, but out of the passenger seat of the car, from the same Facebook account, from the same photo. As long as she clings to the story of the unknown man, Cheyenne preserves a mental space in which she is not the one who killed. She speaks of another, of a convenient ghost that absorbs the violence. This lie allows her to see herself as lost, overwhelmed by forces around her. It spares her from looking at what really happened when the argument broke out on the way back from the bars, far from downtown, toward the west, on those almost empty roads. On those routes that lead to Highway 7, the public floodlights disappear. The fences of industrial zones pass one after another. The noise fades. In this setting, the alcohol does not evaporate. It condenses. A remark about drinking, a reproach about Cheyenne's behavior, tensions that did not begin that night. According to what will later be read in court, there was an argument, a violent act, use of the belt. But as long as the investigation has not concluded, one thing is missing. Cheyenne's ability to say, "I did it," without taking refuge in an external figure. Nothing seems urgent on the surface. The judicial system moves slowly. The case remains open for months. The police know the story doesn't add up, but the raw brutality of the act, with no elaborate plot, no witness, no camera, leaves them in a strange space. There is no grand conspiracy, no serial killer, no spectacular storyline to present to the media. Just two young women, a car ride, a ring road, a belt that moves from waist to neck. This wall exists on the public side as well. The first news reports speak of a young woman found dead by the side of a road, of an ongoing investigation. You read the words homicide, strangulation. Faceless, the story could be filed away with all the others. Then comes the detail. The close friend, the one seen in the photos, is the last person to have seen her alive. The faces overlap. People prefer to imagine a third party, a night gone wrong with a stranger, rather than this deadly closeness. During this period, the belt remains locked in an evidence bag. The bar departure times are reconstructed. The testimonies, even incomplete, pile up. The Crown prosecutors wait for a solid case. Something is still missing to move from suspicion to formal charges. This missing piece is not a scrap of fabric or a technical data point. It is a statement. It comes in fragments. According to the court records, Cheyenne is said to have let slip, to those close to her, fragments of the truth. An argument, a gesture, something that went wrong. These confidences leak out, make their way back to the investigators. Little by little, the wall begins to crack. The sole reason for the deadlock, the impossibility for Cheyenne to recognize herself as the author of the act, recedes. But this resistance leaves a concrete mark. In the reconstruction, they recount how Brittany's body was left on the side of the road, west of Saskatoon. A stark abandonment. No sheet, no clumsy attempt to hide her, no sign of returning. This physical detail, the contact of the body with the cold asphalt, this way of being laid down like an object you no longer want to see, hurts more than any speech. There is no visible moral struggle, only this choice to leave and not look back. When the wall finally gives way, it is not through a spontaneous confession in front of a camera. It happens through the slow machinery of legal procedure. The story of the unknown man is no longer tenable. Contradictions pile up. The fear of acknowledging herself creates a confinement even more violent than the cell where Cheyenne will end up. The experts, for their part, ultimately speak with one voice. To them, this is a homicide case in which Cheyenne's responsibility is not in dispute. Some do, however, subtly mention traces of trauma and substance use in her past, which forces the moral question to shift without erasing it. What they especially refuse, judging by how they express themselves, is to let people believe that the presence of a Facebook photo at the heart of the case changes the fundamental nature of the crime, because recognizing that would amount to admitting that we now rely on digital traces to see what we did not want to see face to face. January 2018. In the courtroom of the Court of Queen's Bench for Saskatchewan, Cheyenne is standing. She pleads guilty to a charge of manslaughter. The charge of second-degree murder is dropped. The act is acknowledged. The intent to kill, as defined by law, is not. The distance between these two words, murder, manslaughter, becomes the new space in which everything will be replayed. The agreed statement of facts is read. It describes the evening, Saskatoon bars, alcohol, the car. At some point during the drive, an argument breaks out. They talk about Cheyenne's substance use, her behavior. The words remain measured, but one senses a mounting tension that does not come from a single drink, but from an accumulation of grievances, fatigue, resentment. From there, the text draws a line. Cheyenne physically assaults Brittany. Then the sentence falls. She uses a belt to strangle her. This belt, she acknowledges, is the same one visible in the selfie posted the day before, the one Brittany wore around her waist, the one investigators found near the body. The loop is closed. The digital image and the physical object overlap. The case leaves the realm of hypotheses and enters that of facts established in court. We learn that, after removing the belt from Brittany's neck, Cheyenne left her body on the side of the road, near Highway 7, in that mixed industrial and semi-rural area west of Saskatoon. She got back into the car. She drove off. Later, she opened Facebook, typed a pseudo-concerned message on Brittany's wall, asking where she was. In front of the judge, this act is described as an attempt at concealment. The court then lists what aggravates what she did: the sheer violence of strangulation, the abandonment of the body, exposed to the eyes of any passerby, the repeated lies to the police and to those close to them. The mitigating factors come next, more quietly. Her guilty plea avoids a long trial. She has apologized to the family. The defense mentions a history of trauma, abuse, substance use. This picture excuses nothing, but it sketches what was not visible in the party photos. The Crown and the defense have a joint recommendation: 7 years in prison. The judge accepts. The sentence is pronounced: manslaughter, 7 years. The judicial records of Saskatchewan register this conviction. On paper, the case is legally closed. In the room, Brittany's family listens. Statements read aloud speak of a raw loss, of a void that repeats itself every day. Some sentences, reported by the media, show a tension between anger and awareness of Cheyenne's background. They have heard her apologies. Cheyenne says she cannot justify what she did, that she is sorry. Her voice repairs nothing. It changes only one thing. It definitively signs the death of the unknown man hypothesis. Outside, it is not that statement that draws attention, but the photo. Articles in Canada, then abroad, repeat the same phrase. The Facebook photo that helped solve a murder. It is recalled that the image showed the belt that was used to kill, that this strip of leather, worn proudly around Brittany's waist, became a piece of evidence. The case becomes an almost textbook example of the impact of social networks on investigations. People talk about new police methods, digital traces, selfies turned into evidence. The story is told as that of a crime unmasked by a platform. Yet this media narrative hides a more intimate collapse. What Cheyenne believed to be true about herself no longer exists. For a long time, she tried to see herself as a spectator, a collateral victim of a someone else. In the end, only one image remains. Her at the wheel, her tightening, her letting go.
What she discovers in its place, in this trial, is narrower, almost suffocating. She is not the tragic heroine of a fate twisted by technology. She is not a pawn in a grand conspiracy or the collateral damage of a stranger from a bar. Above all, she becomes an ordinary person who, in a car, on a poorly lit road in Saskatoon, turned an argument into a homicide and then tried to cover up this act with a public message, accessible to everyone. The years of the sentence, the possibility of parole later, the discussions about reintegration, none of this changes this core. A friendship ended by a banal object, a belt, exposed to the eyes of the world even before being recognized as a weapon. The case is closed in criminal court, but continues to circulate as a textbook case, often reduced to a slogan about the importance of social networks. So, if this entire story has been reframed around an image, what is more troubling? That the photo helped solve the crime, or that it almost managed to make us forget that this crime, at the start, is nothing more than an ordinary murder committed by someone we thought we knew? Last light. A dark room, gray walls, a narrow bed, a small desk. On the mattress, a phone lies face down on the sheet, black screen. On the wall, a pale mark where a picture has been taken down. Through the small window, the outlines of industrial sheds, lit by yellow streetlights, stand out in the night. In the distance, a road, a pale ribbon, disappears toward a point where nothing can be made out anymore.